But I'm gonna read a little portion. Actually, some of you mothers are going to get it from the get-go. You're going to get it right off the bat. I'm going to be reading an introduction from a book called Already Gone. I don't know who gave me this book. I thought Virgil did. There's not a name in the front. If this is your book, see me. I'm over halfway done with it. I'll be done very quickly now. So if that's your book, you can come get it. You didn't put your name in it, okay? If you come in and you say, well, probably nobody will come, you will own this book. So we'll probably put it in the library if nobody claims it. The premise of the book is the decline of the spiritual life in the United States. So I'm just going to read the opening lines from the introduction, and we're going to set the stage. By the way, these are all churches in England. All the pictures you're seeing are cathedrals in England. This is where the first part of this book takes place. The large wooden doors shut behind me with a creak and a heavy thud. Outside, the incessant river of life continues to flow as millions of people jam the sidewalks and rush toward red double-decker buses. Beneath the streets, the London Underground moves the masses by the hundreds of thousands, like blood pulsing through the arteries of this vibrant, thriving society. But inside, I can hear each of my careful footsteps echoing in the dim quiet. I inhale deeply, taking in the aroma of ancient stones and old books. I see rows and rows of ornate pews, seating for more than 3,000 people. Yet, I am ushered into the small foyer area where around 30 folding chairs are set up, and I join a handful of elderly people as they say their prayers, humbly and faithfully, heads bowed. And then they listen to a brief message by a man who speaks of hope, but whose tired eyes seem to feel none of it. This man, Ken Ham, has just attended church in London, England. And that was his synopsis. Huge building, seating for 3,000, and there aren't enough people to sit in the sanctuary. They go in a side room and have church for 30 or so worshipers. Is that crazy? That's a sad commentary for the country of much of our ancestry. And it's just sad. If you listen to the news very much, many people like to compare us to Europe and think that we should be more like Europe in our health care, our taxes, and to get there in our mindset. I'm going to give you some fast facts about England. First of all, let me compare the population. The United Kingdom, which is a little more than England, is 51 million people compared to the United States, 309 million. So 51 million, 309 million, 6 times larger our population than that of England. That's going to help you understand the next fact. Since 1969, 1,500 churches in England have closed. 1,500 churches have closed. You say, that doesn't sound like all that many. Think of their population compared to ours. Think how many people used to go to church who don't anymore, is why those churches are closing. Churches like that. I looked at pictures. In fact, some are in this book. Some I looked at on the internet. It showed some of the various uses. Many of them have been turned into tattoo parlors, nightclubs, banks, anything and everything. People live in them, buy them, and live in them. Churches, where the church once vibrantly was a part of the fabric of their society, they've closed. So it wouldn't be like us in our country where we see little country churches out in the, rural parts closing that would seat 30 or 40 people and just the people moved away. There's a rationale there. I'm talking about churches like these closing. It's crazy. Since World War II, every 10 years, every decade, a large percentage of those who go to church have stopped going to church in England. The decade from 1990 to 2000. Think about where we're at. It's 20 years ago now, starting 1990 to the year 2000, 22% of the people in England who went to church stopped going to church. Almost 1 out of 4 in 10 years stopped going to church. That's hard to fathom. Today, listen, you're not going to believe this. I checked it out, various sources to be sure. 6.3% of the population of England goes to church on a regular basis. 6 people out of every 100. That includes Roman Catholicism and the Church of England are included in that number. Evangelical churches make up just over 2%. Churches like us make up 2% of the population of England. Tommy Van Sickle comes here and we say, oh man, Japan, only 1% of that country are believers. And in England, Western European country, evangelical Christians, it's not much better. Is that sobering to you? Oh, I'm sorry. Happy Mother's Day. Let's try to keep our spirits high as we continue. I don't want to be like England. And I'm not sure some of the other countries aren't worse. I don't want to be like Europe. I don't want to be like that. Now, let's bring it closer to home. How many of you would say that many of our young people leave the church during their years that they attend a secular college? I would like to see a show of hands. Show of hands. Sorry. Show of hands. How many of you believe we lose many of our children while they attend a secular college? All right, thank you. Some of you are going, secular? What's he talking about? That's okay. I'm going to share with you that was just the introduction. I'm going to share with you things from this book. Ken Ham and Britt Beamer. Britt Beamer is a statistician. If you know me, you know I like stats. I like to compare numbers. That's what he does too. And I'm going to share with you some things. They did a survey of 1,000 young adults, 24 to 29, who attended evangelical churches, not high churches, not Presbyterian or Lutheran, evangelical churches like the Church of the Nazarene, the Assemblies, churches that we would say were fairly vibrant. Across America, they found 1,000 young people in that age group, maybe 24 to 29. I think I might have said 25. 24 to 29 who have stopped attending or go no more than twice a year. By the way, in England, one stat that I read said that 15% of the people attend church. That's all it said. And then there was an asterisk, so I looked it up. And that asterisk